Here's the truth. You don't need to raise your voice, lose your temper, or stoop to anyone's level to make toxic people fear you. Power isn't about being the loudest in the room, it's about being the calmest, the most controlled, and the one who cannot be shaken. In this talk, I'm going to show you how to hold your ground, protect your energy, and command respect without ever becoming toxic yourself. When it comes to dealing with toxic people, the first and most important thing you must master is your emotional control. Toxic individuals thrive on your reactions. They feed off your anger, frustration, or even your sadness because those emotional responses give them exactly what they want: power over you. The moment you lose control, you hand them the leverage to manipulate and dominate the situation. Think about it. How many times have you walked away from a conversation or an argument with a toxic person, replaying every word in your head, feeling exhausted, drained, or even defeated? That happens not because they were stronger, smarter, or more capable, but because they pulled you into a game where they control the rules and you played along by reacting. Emotional control changes the game. Instead of being a participant in their chaos, you step back and refuse to play. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means mastering them. You acknowledge your emotions, but you don't let them drive your behavior. Toxic people will say things designed to provoke you, to test how easily you can be rattled. They might roll their eyes, use sarcasm, spread gossip, or directly attack your character. Their goal is to see you break, to prove that they can control the temperature of the room. But when you respond with composure, when you don't flinch, when your voice remains steady and your expression unshaken, you flip the dynamic. Suddenly, they are the ones exposed because they can't get the reaction they were counting on. The key is to understand that silence, calmness, and restraint can be more intimidating than shouting or retaliating. Toxic people expect conflict. They are prepared for a fight. What they aren't prepared for is someone who won't play into their hands. Think of it like a sparring match. If you refuse to swing back, they're left swinging at air, and eventually they tire themselves out. That's when the balance of power shifts in your favor. Emotional control disarms them because it shows them they have no influence over you. This takes practice. The next time someone tries to provoke you, notice your body's response, the quickened heartbeat, the urge to snap back, the feeling of heat rising in your chest. Instead of letting those signals dictate your behavior, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, if I react right now, whose game am I playing? When you choose calm over chaos, you're not just protecting your peace, you're sending a message: I cannot be moved. That message is far more powerful than any insult or counterattack you could throw back. There's also a psychological advantage here. When you maintain composure, toxic people start questioning their own approach. They expect resistance, but when they're met with calm strength, it unsettles them. They might even become more frustrated because they realize they can't control you, and in that moment, you've already won. Emotional control is not about denying who you are or bottling up your feelings. It's about channeling your strength in a way that works for you, not against you. It's the quiet power that speaks louder than words, the invisible shield that protects your mind and energy. It is the foundation of every other strategy you'll use against toxic people, because without it, you risk falling right back into their trap. Setting clear, unbreakable boundaries is one of the most effective ways to protect yourself from toxic people. Boundaries act as invisible fences that define what you will and will not allow in your life. Without them, you leave the door open for manipulation, disrespect, and energy drains. Toxic people thrive in environments where limits are blurred because it gives them freedom to invade your personal space, push your buttons, and control your time. When you draw the line and enforce it consistently, you send a clear message that you value yourself and that their behavior will not be tolerated. The challenge many people face is that they hesitate to set boundaries out of fear of conflict or rejection. They worry that saying no will make them appear rude, unkind, or selfish, but the truth is, boundaries are not about shutting people out, they're about protecting your own well-being. Without boundaries, you end up living in reaction to others, constantly accommodating their demands and sacrificing your own peace. Toxic individuals count on this hesitation. They test how far they can go, how much they can take, and how long they can get away with it. Once they know you have no limits, they exploit that weakness. The first step to setting unbreakable boundaries is clarity. You have to decide what behaviors cross the line for you. It might be constant negativity, disrespectful comments, guilt, tripping, or unwanted intrusion into your personal life. Once you define those behaviors, you communicate your limits directly and calmly. You don't need to justify or over-explain your decisions. A boundary doesn't require an essay. It requires firmness. Phrases like, "I won't continue this conversation if you speak to me that way," or "I'm not available for this right now," are short, direct, and effective. Enforcing boundaries also means accepting that not everyone will like them. Toxic people, in particular, will resist. They may push harder, attempt to guilt you, or accuse you of being difficult. That resistance is proof that your boundary is working. Boundaries reveal who respects you and who doesn't. When someone respects your boundary, they adjust. When they don't, they expose themselves as someone who doesn't value your well-being. Either way, you gain clarity. It's also important to remain consistent. A boundary that shifts every time it's tested is no boundary at all. If you say you won't engage in a heated argument and then let yourself get pulled in, you've taught the toxic person that your words mean nothing. Consistency is where your strength lies. You don't need to raise your voice or issue threats. You just need to calmly follow through. Over time, people learn that you are serious and that crossing your line comes with consequences. Whether that's ending a conversation, limiting contact, or walking away altogether. What makes boundaries so powerful is that they give you back control. Instead of being at the mercy of someone else's behavior, you create the terms of engagement. You decide how much access they have to your time, energy, and emotions. That doesn't just protect you, it empowers you. Toxic people lose their grip when they realize they can't manipulate or intimidate you into bending. Your boundaries serve as armor, but they also serve as a compass, guiding you toward healthier relationships and away from those who drain you. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates, and you hold the key. You decide who gets in, how long they stay, and under what conditions. The more clearly you define them, the more peace and freedom you create for yourself. Communicating with calm authority is one of the most powerful tools you can use when dealing with toxic people. They are constantly scanning for weakness, waiting for an emotional slip, or looking for an opening where they can dominate the conversation. If your voice cracks, your tone shifts, or you sound defensive, they will exploit it. But when you communicate with calm authority, you control the interaction from beginning to end. Authority does not require yelling, aggression, or dominating others. True authority comes from clarity, confidence, and composure. It is the ability to speak in a way that commands respect without demanding it. When you deal with a toxic person, understand that they expect conflict. They want you to match their hostility because that gives them the upper hand. The moment you mirror their negativity, you are playing their game. Calm authority breaks this cycle. It disarms them because it denies them the reaction they are seeking. A steady voice, deliberate pace, and clear words show that you are not rattled, not pressured, and not easily manipulated. Even if they attempt to provoke you, you hold the same tone. This creates a psychological imbalance because your calmness highlights their volatility. The key is to remember that your tone is your power. Words matter, but how you say them matters more. A firm but even tone communicates certainty. It signals that you mean what you say and that you expect it to be respected. Toxic people often try to twist words or create confusion, but when your tone carries authority, your words land differently. Instead of sounding like requests, they sound like boundaries. Instead of sounding like defensiveness, they sound like certainty. Authority comes through simplicity, short, direct statements that leave no room for manipulation. One way to strengthen this skill is by practicing restraint in conversation. You don't need to fill every silence or justify your stance. The more you explain yourself, the more opportunities a toxic person has to twist your words. Calm authority means saying less, but ensuring every word counts. It might sound like, "That doesn't work for me," or "I'm not available for this conversation." No apologies, no nervous laughter, no overcompensation. Just clear, confident statements delivered in a steady tone. Silence can also be a form of authority. When you refuse to respond to bait, when you pause before answering, or when you choose not to engage at all, you show that you are in control of the exchange. Communicating this way also requires body language that aligns with your tone. Toxic people pay attention not only to what you say but how you carry yourself. Crossing your arms, fidgeting, or looking away communicates discomfort. But standing tall, maintaining steady eye contact, and holding your posture communicates strength. It signals that you are present, confident, and unwilling to be diminished. Calm authority is not about intimidation, it is about self-possession. When your body language, tone, and words all align, you project a presence that commands respect even without raising your voice. The more consistently you communicate this way, the more it becomes second nature. Toxic people will realize quickly that their usual tactics, sarcasm, guilt, manipulation, or aggression, have no effect on you. They may become frustrated, but their frustration is proof that you've taken control. Over time, you stop being an easy target. People learn that conversations with you will be calm, direct, and respectful, or they won't happen at all. That shift is powerful because it doesn't just silence toxicity in the moment. It prevents future attempts to undermine you. Calm authority is not about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. When you own your voice, you own the room, and when you own the room, toxic people lose their grip entirely. Detaching from drama and refusing to be pulled into chaos is one of the strongest defenses you can build against toxic people. Their greatest weapon is not just what they say or do, but how they can lure you into emotional entanglement. They thrive on confusion, exaggeration, and escalation because it creates an environment where they feel in control. If they can get you to argue, defend yourself endlessly, or waste your time in circular conversations, they win. The more you get pulled into their whirlwind, the more drained and powerless you become. Detachment is about stepping out of that cycle altogether. It is choosing to not take the bait, to not chase after their shifting stories, and to not let their storms sweep you away. The reality is that toxic people are skilled at creating drama because it keeps the focus on them. They will blow small issues out of proportion, spread rumors, or play the victim to provoke emotional responses. Every time you react, you give them validation. Detaching doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your peace than about proving yourself to someone who isn't interested in fairness. It is realizing that their chaos is theirs to carry, not yours. When you stop reacting to their theatrics, you rob them of the fuel they need to keep the fire going. The art of detachment begins with perspective. You recognize that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. Their anger, insecurity, or manipulation tactics come from their own issues, not from your worth. Once you stop internalizing their drama as something you must fix or defend against, you free yourself. Instead of asking, "Why are they treating me this way?" you shift to, "This is who they are and I don't have to engage." That mental shift gives you back control. One practical way to detach is by not responding immediately. Toxic people often pressure you into quick reactions because haste leads to mistakes. They want you to blurt something out, commit to something you don't want, or let your emotions get the best of you. By slowing down, pausing, and giving yourself space before answering, you break their momentum. A calm delay frustrates them because it shows you're not easily manipulated. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence, walking away, or ending the conversation removes you from the stage they are trying to set. Detachment also means not trying to change them. One of the traps people fall into is thinking that if they just explain enough, show enough patience, or argue well enough, the toxic person will finally see reason. But drama is not about reason, it is about control. When you accept that you cannot change them, you release yourself from endless frustration. You shift your focus from fixing them to protecting yourself. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that your energy is too valuable to waste on battles that cannot be won. Over time, consistent detachment rewires the dynamic. Toxic people realize that with you, drama doesn't work. They may attempt louder tactics or try new strategies, but eventually they move on to easier targets. Your refusal to engage becomes your shield. You stop feeding the fire, and without fuel, it burns out. The beauty of detachment is that it doesn't just protect you in toxic situations, it strengthens you in every area of life. It teaches you patience, clarity, and the discipline to choose peace over chaos, and when peace becomes your standard, drama loses all its power over you. Projecting unshakable confidence through presence rather than aggression is one of the most powerful ways to make toxic people back down. Confidence is not about being the loudest voice in the room, nor is it about intimidating others with force. It is about how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you show up in every interaction. Toxic people look for cracks, any sign of insecurity, hesitation, or self-doubt that they can exploit. When you project confidence, you send a clear message that you are not an easy target, and this alone shifts the balance of power. Presence is the energy you bring into a space before you even say a word. It is in your posture, your eye contact, and your composure. Standing tall, keeping your shoulders back, and holding steady eye contact signals strength. It communicates that you respect yourself and expect others to respect you as well. Toxic individuals may try to shake this by using sarcasm, criticism, or attempts to embarrass you. But when your presence remains calm and grounded, their tactics fall flat. They expect you to shrink, to stumble, or to lash out, but when you remain poised, you unsettle them. One of the biggest misconceptions about confidence is that it requires arrogance or aggression. In reality, those behaviors reveal insecurity. True confidence is quiet and steady. It does not need to prove itself because it already knows its worth. When you project this kind of confidence, you make toxic people uncomfortable because they cannot manipulate what they cannot destabilize. You are not playing their game, and without that leverage, they lose their hold. Confidence is not about controlling others, it is about controlling yourself. It is about knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone else define that for you. The way you speak plays a major role in projecting confidence. Short, direct sentences carry more authority than long, defensive explanations. If you find yourself justifying your choices or over-explaining, you give toxic people room to poke holes in your words. Confidence is saying less but making every word count. Phrases like "that doesn't work for me" or "I've made my decision" are powerful because they leave no space for debate. Your voice should be calm, steady, and even. A confident tone is never rushed or frantic. It is measured, deliberate, and controlled, which shows you are not easily swayed. Confidence is also about consistency. It is not enough to project strength once and then fall back into doubt the next time you're challenged. Toxic people test boundaries repeatedly to see if your confidence is genuine or temporary. When you consistently show up with the same steady presence, they realize that pushing against you is pointless. This does not mean you never feel fear or doubt. It means you don't let those feelings dictate your behavior. You act with confidence even when you don't feel it fully, and over time it becomes natural. The deeper truth about unshakable confidence is that it grows from within. It comes from knowing your values, your boundaries, and your worth. Toxic people lose their power when they realize you don't need their approval, their validation, or their acceptance. You no longer look to them for confirmation of your identity. That independence is intimidating because it means they cannot control you. Presence without aggression is the strongest form of authority because it is rooted in self-respect. It does not waver when challenged, and it does not crumble when criticized. When you project that kind of confidence, toxic people have no choice but to step back because their usual tactics simply won't work on you.